All right, guys, b'siyata d'ishmaya, we're learning in Biyam Darkecha in preparation for Elul. And today we're going to learn, it's known that Chodesh Elul is called, the month of Elul is called the month of Rachamim and Slichot, right? Mercy and forgiveness. So today we're going to learn about what is mercy and how do we merit to mercy. What is this idea of Rachamim? What are we talking about when we say it's the month of Rachamim? These days are called the Rachamim and Slichot, and we say a bunch of times the 13 midot of Rachamim, Yud Gimel midot Rachamim, the 13 attributes of mercy. We say it a lot during these months. What are we doing every time we come to say the 13 attributes of mercy? What is Rachamim first? There's 3 midot that Hashem rules the world with. There's 3 types of ways that Hashem rules the world. One is the midah of chesed, which is in Kabbalah called the sfira of chesed. One is midat adin. Chesed is loving kindness, right? One is din, what's called in Kabbalah sfirat gvura, gvura, might, limitations, judgments, boundaries. And the third is midat rachamim, the attribute of mercy, which in Kabbalah is called tiferet, the sphere of tiferet. Chesed, the idea is ashpa'a b'shefa bli gvul. Chesed is giving over, is abundance coming down, is giving without limitations. V'bli kesher l'ma'aseh ha'mekabel, without any connection to the actions of the receiver, of the whatever is being given over. Ubli livdok im megi'a lo al pi ma'asav. Without checking, is he deserving of this shefa according to his actions? Right? Chesed, loving kindness, that's one way Hashem rules the world. It's giving, 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 without necessarily going into the nitty-gritty of who the person is and seeing if his actions align and allow him to receive the light I want to give over. V'leumata, midat adin, inyana livdok hitev im megi'a lemekabel kama v'letet lo rak lefi hare'ui lo. On the other side of chesed, you have what's called din, which is gvura, which is might, which is limitations. There, they check the person exactly according to his actions. Is he deserving? Is he fitting to receive or not? What did you do? How did you act? What did you do in the world physically? How did you speak? How did you think? How did you act? And that is where we're going to check you. And we're only going to give you according to what you're really deserving of. Vinyan midat rachamim, the idea of rachamim is that it's this interface between the two sides, right? This bridge between the side of loving kindness without any limitations and checking who the person is and what their actions are, and then only giving over the light. Rachamim is this balance between the two. מצד אחד היא הולכת בדרך מידת החסד ומרחמת. On one side, Rachamim goes in the path of chesed, of loving kindness, and it has mercy. ורוצה להשפיע גם למי שאינו ראוי. In the midah of Rachamim, when Hashem is using the light of Rachamim, it leans toward the side of wanting to give, even if the person is not deserving. אומנם יש בה מידת הדין, but on the other side, there is this limitation, there is this side of judgment. והיא אינה מסכימה להשפיע בלי בדיקה וקצבה. So yes, Rachamim on one side wants to give over, without really checking who you are, and even if you're not so fitting, he still wants to give you. On the other side, there is still a limitation, and there is still a budget. There is still going to be an amount. It's not full chesed that's just flowing. There is a check here. Who are you? And then let me make a budget, an amount, a ration that you're going to get of the shefa. What's the difference then between Rachamim and midat adin? Midat adin comes and checks you until the end. It's the fine check, right? It's a background check at the FBI, so to say. ואילו מידת הרחמים מקילה בבדיקתה. Rachamim, mercy, more lenient on the check. Let some things slide a bit. And in a few different ways. And it gives over also to a person who's not really fitting. אם יש קצת טעם והסבר, if there's a little bit of reason here, a little bit of an explanation of maybe why that thing, that action, didn't add up to what it should have been, maybe there's an explanation here. Rachamim allows for that, for you to answer and to defend yourself and hey, listen, I was late, I was speeding because I had to get there, right? The cop that hears you out, lavdil, right? He's giving you this room. Technically, you did something wrong. Your actions don't add up. Why were you late? Why were you speeding? Right? So the midah of rachamim, it's not full din where it's checking you into the end. There is some room here to give over explanation, tam ve'ezber. שמתקבל מעט על פי הבדיקה של מידת הדין, אבל אם מקבל אינו ראוי כלל, היא לא משפיעה לו. Rachamim though, still, if the person is completely not fitting, there's no shefa that comes down. It doesn't give over, right? So it's not full chesed, and it's not full din. We're not completely giving to whoever, even if they're not fitting, and we're not going to check you until the end, FBI background check. We'll give you room to explain yourself and to try to bring down the shefa. By way of the midah of rachamim, we're able to look at the root of what the thing is. One of the main ideas is that according to rachamim, we can judge and see the root of things. And not only according to the outcome, the physical outcome that comes from that event. Meaning, according to midat adin, according to the judgment, we have to look and act and judge people according to how they act. He did this, he didn't do that, he acts like this, he doesn't like that, so that's the person. That's מידת הדין. באה מידת הרחמים ואומרת שבית הצורך אפשר לרחם ולהסתכל על השורש שהביא את המעשה. ואם השורש הוא טוב, אפשר לזכות בדין. By way of rachamim, what am I able to do? Say, what happened that caused that event to happen? And if the cause of the event was something that I could maybe understand and tolerate, then I can merit the person in my judgment of him. Meaning, like we said with the cop, right? You were speeding, but you weren't being a crazy driver. You were just you were over the driving limit, the speed limit, right? The cop says, why were you speeding? Well, my wife's in labor right now, right? So what does the cop do? Okay, I understand that. You were only 10, 15 miles over the speed limit. You weren't going crazy. You weren't swerving lanes. You were putting your foot down. Go ahead. I'll even escort you, right? Puts his lights on and he takes you. That's rachamim. What does the law say? You were speeding. You're getting points. You're getting a ticket. Midat HaRachamim allows, again, for this to be this check. What was the cause? The action was not good for sure. What caused you to do that? Right? And in other ways in life, we know tons of Jews in the world that are completely not connected. What caused them to be like this? What caused them to sin? What caused them to live lives against Torah? They don't know any better. They never were taught. So they're 30 years old and they have the internet and they see religious people. But they were taught that we're parasites. They were taught that we're evil people, that we're primitive. It's not their fault. Am I able to arouse some mercy on the person and look at the root of what's really going on? What caused this action to happen? For us, since the root of all avirot, all sins, is the lack of emunah that a person had, that emunah comes down to everything, right? Every sin, it comes down to person lacked emunah in that moment. If that mistake is already not here, the lack of emunah has passed, right? The bad action has passed. Now the person returns to recognizing the oneness of God. You should forgive him. He did something bad for whatever reason, and now he's doing tshuva. He's, like we talked about last week, he's making a decision. Yeah, I messed up, but I want to live with you, Hashem. It's not, that action happened, but my heart is with you. I'm here in shul. I'm coming to learn Torah. I'm with you, right? So if that's the case, the act is already passed. Where's the person now? He's back with me, so there's room to forgive. A person leaves this feeling that he's the one that has to do. He's the one that's making actions in this world. He starts to recognize how little power he actually has, how little ability a person really has. He nullifies himself to Hashem, submits himself to the will of Hashem, and he starts to go in now to serving Hashem properly with loyalty, with ne'emunut. Then Midat HaRachamim says, since the root of the sin was erased, meaning the lack of godly consciousness, since the root of the sin was erased, now we have to forgive this person, and we have to give him the shefa that was coming down for him. To bring him in, to bring him closer into the chambers of the king. Even though his actions were bad, they were bad actions. we have to allow him in. We have to allow him back in. Little footnote here. כל מה שיש מושג כזה של תשובה זה רחמים עצומים של הבורא על ברוריו. The idea that we even have tshuva in the world is the biggest rachamim, the biggest mercy that the Creator could give to His creations. The inner aspect of tshuva, what we talked about last week, right, of the son who for whatever reason had a fight with his father, and now he's coming back, and then the main aspect of that is simcha and his acceptance and open arms. And yes, we're going to have to talk about what was, but very shortly, just to get it out of the way, and with respect. And I'm sincerely sorry, and I regret my actions, but I'm home, Dad. Abba, I'm here with you, right? That's the main feeling is simcha. It's not about that. So too, if we're talking about Rachamim, right? What is Rachamim? Looking at the core. Yeah, there was an action, but it's not about the action. Where is the person at the core? That is exactly what tshuva is, and it comes before this whole entire world. The actions are here limited by time and, the spectrum of time and physicality. Tshuva came before there was even a world, so it's above all of that. We can ascend above the actions if we're able to look at the core of what's causing and what happened really inside. So what's the depth of Rachamim then? That is the explanation. That's what allows us to see what's going on. What's the inner point here? צריך לדעת שאפילו שהשם יתברך ברא אותנו הנבראים ונתן לנו כוח לפעול פעולות בעולם. Even though Hashem created us, these creations, all of us, and He gave us the ability to act in this world. באמת, בפנימיות, אין לנבראים כוח עצמי. The truth internally is that no creation has his own power. אלא כל כוחנו וחיותנו היא רק מהשם יתברך. All of our power, all of our vitality, all of our ability to do anything is just from Hashem.
It's not free will, isn't it? It's different from free will. No?
I don't know. This is a topic I'm very hard to talk on. I listened to your podcast. I know you went deep into this, but I'm not the one. You take it up with Rav Yoel. Free will and the way we just talked about it on Shabbat. I'm not the one for free will and Yediyah. Kach shebemet hu oseh emiti. But we can say, for sure, right? If our soul is a piece of Hashem, right? Then what's moving? Me? What am I? I'm nothing. I'm a piece of dirt. What am I? Like you said in your podcast as well, right? I'm a piece of dirt. Right? Anything that's alive inside of me is that spark that's coming from Hashem, right? So if I'm going to give credit to any action in this world, I'm giving it to Hashem. Not getting into the free will and the knowledge, but on that simple level, we can know anything that's happening here is because of Hashem willed it into this world, right? He's the real doer. But He conceals Himself, He hides Himself. Meaning, the way Hashem rules the world is that He doesn't get involved, revealed in the ideas of creation. You won't see Hashem, right? A hand coming out and stopping you from doing a sin. A hand comes out of heaven and smacks you. Don't do that. Right? You don't see Hashem getting involved, revealed in what's going on in the world. Hashem wants us to be His emissaries, His messengers to act in the world and to reveal His kingship in the world. And He acts by way of us. And He reveals His ability by way of us, His power by way of us. And we are the tools to reveal this light in the world. And again, light is not always what we perceive as good things. Light of Hashem could also be something that down here doesn't seem so light, right? It might appear dark even, but in the end of the day, we don't understand it. That's from our perception. Everything that's coming down is only good from Hashem. So the whole entire creation, according to how it looks to our eyes, it's made up of two parts. The part of the Creator, blessed be He, Shu chayut hakol, is vitality and the life force of everything, and He's the internal aspect of everything. And like it's written, ve'ata mechayeh et kulam, you bring life to everybody, to everything. V'chelek hanivra, that's one side, and the other side is we have the side of the creation, us. Shebechitzoniyut hu poel kan ba'olam ha'ma'aseh v'oseh nachat ruach liyotzro. It appears as if we're acting out in this world, and we're elevating tranquility and nachat up to Hashem, right? So Hashem is the inner aspect, He's the one that's doing everything, He's the life force and everything. And to the side of the creation, the other side of the coin is that it appears as if we're the ones doing everything. Midat adin, the severity, the judgment, that gives a lot of weight to the actions of the creations. Since you're created, You're responsible. You're here, everything's on your shoulders. Then it only allows you to receive the shefa according to your actions, because midat hadin looks at you as an individual. Ilu midat chesed, the other side of loving kindness, looks at the internal aspect of the creation. Since internally there's nothing besides Hashem, that is bringing life and existence to all of creation. So when I look with the eyes of chesed, what you did as a creation, that's not important at all. Inside of you have a spark of Hashem. Therefore, on the side of chesed, everything is given over without any limitations. Hashem is infinite, that's the internal reality of everything, we give over. Right? Because everything is from the ability and the light of Hashem, and that is just, and Hashem is ashpa'a b'li gvul, Hashem is just infinite, giving over without any limitation. So too. But then we come to the midat of Rachamim, then we come to mercy, the middle path. One side it's giving to someone who's maybe not fitting, and that's coming from the side of chesed, the side of mashpia, I want to give over, I want to give to you. On the other side though, it's not without looking at all at your actions and your reality as an individual. The Midat HaRachamim does look at you and look at your actions. What's the weight here? What's the difference? How much from Shamayim that they're going to look at you and your actions as an individual, and how much are they going to look at your internal reality that you are an extension of the light of Hashem? That depends on you. That depends on you. You want to bring down judgment on yourself? Look at everybody else as an individual person who does that and does that and does that and does that. He did this. You want to bring down some mercy on yourself? Look at everything. Wow, that's a spark of Hashem. I don't get it, but Gewalt, is that a beautiful spark of Hashem? I don't know. I don't understand what's going on here, but I know his soul is part of Hashem, right? If you get mistaken, you think that the external reality that you experience is the main aspect, and you think that everything that happens, the main thing is the actions of man, and even more so that if you give importance to nature and externalities, and you think that you can do whatever you want, then they act like you. They act like that with you, right? They act with you according to your actions, and so too, they look at you as a creation. You want to look at the creation and not at the Creator? We're going to look at you as a creation and not a part of the Creator. But if a person returns and comes back and he regrets his mistakes and he understands in the most internal part of his heart his desire is just Hashem and that Hashem is the truth, and then he understands that the true reality is Hashem and there's nothing besides that, and then the whole entire the creation in his eyes is just an extension of that reality, then he's looking at the light of Hashem in everything. And he's seeking out how to experience this whole world as a way to cling to Hashem, to attach himself to Hashem. And anytime he goes to do service of Hashem, not only is he trying to do the will of the Creator, he also doesn't think about him as the doer. He doesn't see himself as the one that's doing anything. He realizes that everything's from Hashem. Then, since the person returns in tshuva, and now he's living the life of nullification, of submission to Hashem, of life of bitul, he recognizes the true reality that everything is just by the power of Hashem. Then, on the side of the internal aspect of his life, everything's fixed. Everything's okay. And then they start to forgive you for all of your actions that you failed. And they start to give you tova v'bracha. They start to give you good and blessing from up above. Because what's the rule? Shebemidah sh'adam moded, ba modedim lo. However you measure the world is how they're going to measure you. Right? However you look at the world is how you're going to be looked at. If you look and you see good in everything, from Shamayim, when they have to judge you on Rosh Hashanah and decide how much you're going to have this year and what you're going to go through this year, they're going to judge you how you judge the world. And then the opposite is also true. You want to be focused on this world all the time and stuck inside physicality, your life's going to be super physical with not much godly revelation in it, right? Right? According to how you act in this world, so too is how Hashem acts with you. If you want it to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way, but it depends. So we have, just to finish up here, Two little portions, chesed din v'rachamim. As long as a person is doing sins and going after his yetzer hara, hu nidon b'midat adin, he's being judged by the attribute of judgment, of strictness, of severity. Since he's saying and he's showing with his actions that the person, man is who decides, chas v'shalom, right? But that's what he's saying. It's about me. I want to do this. I'm going to do it. There's a Torah, so I'm doing this. As if there's some kind of reality and good besides Hashem. So they act with the person like midat adin. That it says, what does midat adin say? You were created. The fact is, God created a world. That is the reality. He made you a person with a Torah. You are expected to follow it. You're not following it. That's how we're going to act with you. You are an individual creation and you're responsible for your actions. And in correspondence to that, when a person says, I know that everything is from Hashem and I'm seeking Him out constantly and I want to act only according to His will, everything is alive because of Him and I have no power to myself separate from Hashem and only Hashem is the true good, then they start to act with you that way, which is the way of chesed, and they start to forgive you from up above without any limitations. And midat adin comes in the middle. Meaning, in the beginning, when the person went away from the truth, and he started to do actions that are not according to the proper way he should be acting, from a mistake in his emunah, a lack of God clarity, a mistake in his emunah. And now he's doing tshuva, and he says, I made a mistake, and I thought that I'm the one that's doing everything. I thought that I'm the center of the universe, and I made a mistake, and I thought that there's some kind of good besides Hashem in this world. And now I understand the truth, and I'm returning and I'm connecting back to Hashem. In that kind of situation, midat adin, tovat listakel al ma'asim befal, the midat of din comes and says, claim your honor, what are his actions? What did he do? Really, in this world, what did he do? How did he act? He did sins? Look at that. Punish him. He gave room to external aspects. Let's treat with him that way. It comes the attribute of mercy and says, it's true, we have to look at the creations. God created a world, He made us individuals with Torah mitzvah. That's true. We have to look at that reality. But it's also beneficial for us to try to look at the root of what's going on here. What is the root of what caused this action to happen here? And since his action, he's regretted what he did, and he understands the truth now. He understands there's no true individual reality to any creation. Everything is just from Hashem that is giving life at any given moment. Therefore, we should have mercy on him. Because in the depth of what happened, the root of the sin, he's already regretted the root of the sin, a lack of godly conscience. And the root is everything. The roots are everything. If from the root it's fixed, that yesterday he went to the club, but today he's in shul, well, today he's in shul. Yesterday was yesterday. Right now he's in shul. So how do I treat him now? As if he's in shul, trying to connect to Hashem, looking at the one reality. So what is the main power of midat Rachamim? When a person recognizes that it's not about him, you have no power. You're not anything special to yourself separate from Hashem. Everything is just the light of Hashem. And a person is just a shaliach, just a messenger here to bring out Hashem's will in this lower realm. A person who lives like that, and he doesn't take all the success to himself, he doesn't take all the failure to himself, it's not about me, he knows everything's just from Hashem, then they don't walk with that person in midat adin. That should say that we should only judge a person according to his external actions. Rather, midat Rachamim comes in and starts to look at the internal root of everything. And everything happens, why? Because a person returned to understanding the proper reality. In order to merit that Hashem will treat us with mercy, treat us with Rachamim, we have to act like that. We have to feel that with ourselves and with others. We have to live with Bitul, and we have to understand that Hashem is doing everything. And all we are is just tools and vessels to reveal His will in action in this world. And from that, the root of all sins are erased, right? So what is the work in Elul? Practically, how do we take all of the things we just learned about Rachamim and we live out these next 30 days of Rachamim? How do we do it? This is the internal work of Elul. To return to live properly. To return to live with the unification, the oneness of Hashem. To work and to serve Hashem from a place of bitul, of it's not about me, there's something bigger than me, there's something bigger and beyond me that's going on here. And to recognize the true reality of everything, Hashem. And not to think, I'm the one that's going out and doing, if I don't do it, it's not going to get done. If I don't raise the money, if I don't go watch over this, it's not about you. Everything is God's light that is being illuminated by way of me. Not because I'm something special, because that's what He wanted. There's immense power in these days to merit to mercy. Meaning to be able truthfully to come into this truth, to live this out. Right? We're now trying to download. Every holiday has its time that we're downloading. Pesach, we're downloading freedom. Right? Shavuot, we're downloading Torah. Sukkot, we're downloading Simcha. Elul, we're downloading the ability to look at the root of everything and to not be so harsh on ourselves and in the whole entire world. And in return, that from Shamayim, they will act the exact way with us, to not be so hard on us. For sure, the whole entire year, every Jew wants this. Every Jew wants to merit to this all 12 months of the year, 13, whatever year we're in. Now in Elul, the gates are open. It's easy in Elul to start to live a life of truth. The more you merit to go into this internal truth with your whole entire heart, so too Hashem will act according to the internal truth. כל החטאים ששורשם בטעות שחשב שיש מציאות וטוב וחוץ מהשם יתברך נמחקים כי נמחק שורשם. When a person goes into an internal way of living and he understands Hashem's at the root of everything and it's not about me and everything is Hashem, then the root of all sins has been removed. And therefore your sin itself is being forgiven and removed. You know that it's all about Hashem. Your sin was because you didn't think it was all about Hashem. You thought it was about you or her or it, or whatever it might be, right? This world. You thought it was about that. You made a mistake. Now you're back to living that it's all about Hashem. Hashem's going to live like that with you. This is our main work. What is it? To merit to true recognition of Hashem. To understand that He is the one that is giving ability to do chayil, to go out, the ability to go out and to do mighty things in this world. There's nothing besides Hashem Yitbarach. And we have to work in order to merit this. Whether it's by way of our thoughts, by way of our learning about these kinds of topics, whether it's our prayers to merit to get to these levels, to merit to know which Torahs to learn to get to these levels, and mainly by way of acting according to this truth. To work from a place of bitul, of nullification of myself, of submission of myself and my will to the greater will of Hashem, and to pray to Hashem Yitbarach, to be happy in how He's leading me through His world, and just in the fact that I have some kind of relationship and proximity to Hashem, that I feel close to Him. And even though for sure a person has to do everything in his might to keep the whole entire Torah and to not sin, 100%, to not get mistaken from everything we just said. You have to do everything in your power to be the best yet possible. You're not expected to reach perfection, because even Moshe didn't, and no one's expected to do that. You have to do everything in your ability to be as best as you can, though. Even though that's the case, it has to be from a true recognition that at the source and at the core and at the root, Hashem's doing everything. You're a pipe. You're a tool. Be a tool. Right? You are a tool. Be a tool. All of your service, all your tefillah, your mitzvot, your tzedakah, you're helping your wife, you're loving your children, everything that you do in this world is going to come from a place of recognition. It's not about me, it's all about Hashem, it's all about connecting to Hashem. And this is true tshuva. This is Elul, this is real tshuva. And it's not dependent at all on any outcome or success or failure that's going to be after it. It has nothing to do with whether you're going to be successful with this or not. In your most internal root, are you clinging to Hashem? And are you walking and trying to bring out His will in all of the aspects of your life? B'ezrat Hashem, may we merit to look at the world this way, to judge ourselves this way, and to judge Hashem this way, to understand that He loves us. The true roots, the core of Hashem is that He loves us. We have to have those eyes towards Him. He has those eyes towards us for sure. And we have to have it with all of Am Yisrael. We have to look at every single person and see that inside, Chelek Eloah mimamal mamash, a piece of Hashem from up above, mamash. That's the reality of what He is. Everything else we don't understand. Right? It says you don't judge your friend until you got it in his place. You'll never be in his place because we're all unique souls. You can't ever judge him. One thing you can judge him for, Rabbi Nachman says we have to judge Jews. But we have to judge them favorably. And how do we do that? By knowing internally that they are a spark of God. And every single Jew is filled with mitzvot. For more on this, you can open Likutei Moran 282, one of the most important teachings in the last 200 years, if not in the last 5,783 years. Right? Likutei Moran 282, Reish Pei Bet, what's called the Torah of Azamra, and look up how to judge yourself favorably, how to judge the world favorably, and in return, to be able, with that power, to do tshuva and to sing songs to Hashem. Be'ezrat Hashem Yitbarach.